Before we formally call to order and begin the meeting, I want to take just a moment because we're really blessed to have several folks that have a deep, rich tradition with Fannin County Schools and also with Fannin County that are here with us this evening that I'd like to recognize. And first, I'd like to recognize we have a superintendent of schools, Mr. Cecil Davis. Mr. Davis, you can just wave and we'll bring you up here in just a moment. Mr. Davis, you care to share anything with the group, or you want to say, don't get old? That's great advice. Yes, sir. Yeah. We appreciate you, Mr. Davis. Thank you so much for being here. I'd also like to recognize Superintendent of Fannin County Schools, Mr. Gene Crawford. Mr. Crawford. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. Also, Superintendent of Fannin County Schools, Mr. Morgan Art. Mr. Art. Mr. Art hired me 3 times. So, thank you, Mr. Art. Also, we have a former member of the Fannin County Board of Education that's present with us, Mr. David Falls. We have a guest speaker that will be with us presenting a little bit later on today. He is the head of the Georgia Emergency Management Agency, also Georgia Homeland Security, Chris Stallings, Director Chris Stallings. And then also we have elected official with us. We have Sheriff Dane Kirby, Fannin County Sheriff's Office. We appreciate you very much being here with us this evening, Sheriff. Thank you. Are there any other, did I miss anybody? Any other former board or elected officials that are with us here in the meeting? Of course, the stars of tonight's show that we're going to be making special recognitions on in just a moment are Fannin County wrestlers. Yeah. Go Rebels. So we're very proud of you and everything that you do for us here. We also have some technicians. In fact, Mr. Ensley's going to be recognizing Mr. Tom Cook, Mr. Rodney Ensley. Congratulations to you gentlemen. We'll be bringing you up. And then also we're going to be transitioning to a new superintendent in this Board of Education. So I'd like to introduce you, everybody, to Ms. Shannon Miller. And also, Shannon, you have a special guest with you this evening. And we'll bring him out momentarily, but we also have Judge Piker here with us this evening who will be conducting that swearing. So we have one board member who is on the way, and he'll be with us here in just a moment.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Rodney.
Yes, sir.
It always amazes me at 30 seconds prior to the time for the meeting to start, everybody just stops talking. And we're a bit raucous tonight. They gave me this whenever I took over his chair. I've never had a chance to use it. I thought tonight would be the night. Yes, you may. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. I hope I never even have an occasion to use it. I was just kidding. But, this is probably as good a time as any. And I want to recognize Dr. Gwatney, our outgoing superintendent, and Ms. Miller, our incoming superintendent. They have just gone through a period of transition that is truly a model. They have worked together, side by side. Dr. Gwatney sharing his experience and his expertise with Ms. Miller, and she had the ability to ask questions and move forward. It certainly speaks to their dedication to our students and to our staff and to the Fannin County school system. So I want to congratulate them and thank them for a model transition of superintendent. Thank you both. And with that said, I'll go ahead and call our March Board of Education meeting to order.
Chair, I make a recommendation to approve as presented.
Very well. We have a recommendation. The chair's motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
You have that motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, as part of our special ceremony tonight, I'd like to take a moment, if you would do us the honor of recognizing and honoring our current superintendent, Dr. Michael Blackney. It would be a pleasure.
Certainly. Or would you like to join me around front? I would go ahead and announce that we're going to have a reception for Dr. Gwatney, a retirement reception on March 30th from 3 to 5 p.m. And you're certainly all invited, and we look forward to seeing you there. But for the record, we wanted to recognize him tonight as well for his years and years of dedicated service to the Fannin County school system. From parapro to teacher to assistant principal to principal, to director of technology, and finally, for your extraordinary leadership over the past 6 years as superintendent of Fannin County Schools. We'd like to present you with this plaque as a token of our appreciation, and fittingly, it was created by students in our CTAE department that you have fostered so diligently. So congratulations and thank you. Again, that reception will be March 30th from 3 to 5 p.m. and we look forward to seeing you there. Right here? It'll be in this building, yes. Certainly.
Mr. Chair, it's already been a blessing tonight, and with that said, we want to take a minute to let our current board members, you all, our family, know what you mean to us. Next week is Board Appreciation Week, and it's a time of formal thank you. So I'd like to take this time, and our principals would like to come forward as well. Thank you all for all that you do. And with that,
Board, if we could just have you line up across the front real quick. And ladies and gentlemen, School Board Appreciation Week is March 13th through the 17th, and the members of the Fannin County Board of Education, Mr. Terry Bramlett has served from January 1st, 2005 to present, and Ms. Miller has a certificate from Mr. Bramlett. Mr. Cole, who serves as our Vice Chair, has served from January 1, 2019 to present. Mr. Bobby Bearden from January 1, 2003 to present. Mr. Louis DeWeese from January 1st, 1989 to December 31st, 2004, and January 1, 2009 to present. And Mr. Chad Galloway, January 1, 2017 to present. Ladies and gentlemen, these 5 board members are phenomenal board members. They do so much for Fannin County, and they know the people that they represent are the children of Fannin County. We are so blessed and fortunate to have them here in Fannin County. Let's give them a round of applause. And to show our appreciation to the board, Dr. Ramsey, you want to tell them what's about to be presented?
Yes, sir. We come bearing gifts tonight to show our appreciation for your support of our students, the support you give us as faculty and staff, and how you work with us and the way you take care of the school system. We thought no better way to honor you than to present you a gift that was also made by our students. Our CTA program continues to thrive as a direct result of the support that you give. So we want to take this opportunity to thank you. We're each one going to, it works out perfectly because there's 5 of us and 5 of y'all, so the math is perfect. So each one wanted to present one of you with one of these. So I'll start with Mr. Terry Brown.
We'll just line up across the front. Thank you.
you in person. Principals, thank you so much for this. One year, you all decided to give us cakes, and they were given with such love and care. I was determined to eat every bite. I gave at least 8 pounds. It's a wonderful gift. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Board. It is my pleasure to present to you our technicians that recently went to Pioneer RESA to compete in the technicians competition. So I'm going to ask Tom Cook, Rodney Inslee, and Denver Foster to come down, if they would. We are truly blessed in our department. We had Mr. Tom Cook, who came to us in 2009. He is a master technician, went over and took first place in Pioneer RESA's technician. We're super proud of Tom. And then Rodney came as a part-time to us last fall, joined us full-time in January, and I said, well, you need to go over here and compete in this thing. And he was a little hesitant about it and come home with third place. So that's pretty good. And certainly want to recognize Mr. Denver Foster. He's our administrative shop foreman, who is a 5-time state champion and 2-time national runner-up technician. So we are very, very blessed to have them. And I just want to say thank you very much for what you do for us each and every day to keep our kids safe.
Back up.
This is the fun part. We'll get to the business in a bit.
Well, thank y'all. Nice. I'll sit down and stand up again. Let y'all do that again. I feel really good now. I'll ask now for our wrestling team and coaches to come up front. It's going to be a lot of them. And then I'll also call Miss York up front, please. Okay, I don't want to still a lot of thunder from Coach, and I know he's got a lot of things he wants to say about these young men. But the first thing I want to do is just express my appreciation. We're here to honor their accomplishment, but we should also be honoring the kind of young men and young ladies that they are. That's the thing that makes me the most proud, is that I know when they go somewhere that they're going to represent our school and they're going to represent our community to the utmost. And it is just always so exciting for me when these young men and young women go out into the state and they represent us so well. The success is there, and most of them are just 2 years removed from a team state championship, and now we've got some individual state champions, and they're going to talk about all that. But I also want to talk and express my appreciation for our coaching staff. They do an absolutely tremendous job. It's a real sacrifice to coach these kids. Mr. King's going to join us as well. But it is a real sacrifice, and they give up time. They give up time at home. They give up time with their family, and I just really appreciate the job that they do and the guidance that they give these young men. I also appreciate our parents and our community and how they work so well to support our wrestling program, how well they work to support our school in general. I mean, we're so fortunate and so blessed, and I know you hear it time and time again how blessed we are to live in Fannin County, but it's the truth. It's not just a saying. It really is the truth, and I'm just very proud of these young men, proud of the coaches in our community. And now I'll turn it over to Miss Shannon York, and she's going to talk a little bit.
But does Mr. Danner have the batteries to throw if I go too long? I just want to say that I am thankful to have this job, to have this opportunity. I stepped right in and immediately, and they're already successful before you get here. And then I get to say I get to be on the same team in the same school as incredible caliber adults, as these coaches and as these kids. And I get to walk right beside them, and I get to do everything that they do, and I get to watch them grow. I get to watch them grow in character. I get to watch them grow in all the things. And wrestling is one of those sports that's not like a lot of other sports. There is no other sport that I know of that develops as much character and grit and determination and stamina as wrestling does. So I'm so proud of these young men and women, and I'm so proud of Coach Patterson here. He is a delight, and he can turn any dark moment or even a misty moment into just blissful awesomeness if you miss that. But I love Coach, and I love his other coaches and teammates and Mr. King and all of these guys. And so I'm so tickled to get to introduce you to Coach Chuck Patterson.
I typed this up earlier today, so if I, miss a word, only I'll know. All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Miller, Dr. Gwatney, and the rest of the district administrative team in attendance. I would like to thank you all for the opportunity once again to recognize an amazing group of young people for their unprecedented accomplishments. Just some stats. This year's wrestling team has completed another amazing season, finishing with their third consecutive area championship, a program record, a state dual team and traditional runner-up finish, as well as 8 state place winners and also a program record. And for the first time ever in school history, crowned multiple state champions in the same year. These guys and girls have pushed themselves to levels of discipline, conditioning, and technique really indescribable for anyone who's never really wrestled. For young men and women to naturally possess the amount of resolve and perseverance it takes to be consistently successful in this sport is extremely remarkable. Members of the team include Michaela Holloway, the manager, Emma Shaw, wrestler/manager, Skylar Queen, Braylon Walton, Conrad Head, Tristan Saller, Christian Newberry, area champion, sectional 3rd place, state qualifier. Corbin Davenport, area champion, sectional champion, 2-time state runner-up, and state champion. Logan Long, area champion, sectional runner-up, and state 3rd place finish. Drake Cantrell, two-time state qualifier. Cooper Moreland, area champion, three-time state qualifier, and fourth place state finish. Finn Thorson, sectional runner-up and freshman state qualifier. You guys peek out around there so I can see you now. Jaden Brown, freshman, is going to be a stud. Landon Poole, sophomore, is going to be a stud. Carson Collis, two-time state qualifier, two-time state placer, and state champion. Coincidentally, Taylor Collis, also, Taylor's a three-time state place winner, fourth place, second place, and state champion. Blake Summers, freshman state champ, also now a three-time state placer and state runner-up, three-time area champ, and two-time sectional champ, or one-time sectional runner-up, something like that. He's got a lot of them with one more year, folks. He's going to be a good one. Colby Shaw, three-time state qualifier, state fifth place finish this year. Jacob Dye, sophomore, will be a junior and is going to be an absolute terror next year. Thomas Golden, two-time state qualifier. Angela Alvarez, manager. Where's Swevlin at? She's got a sister, too. Looks just like her. They're both managers. So there's a lot of names, guys. Jack Mitchell, freshman, who's going to be really good. Easton Ralston, sophomore, is going to be really good. And Haven Ashe, who is also a sophomore and going to be really good. And I think I see Jaden Brown back there. Is that? I already said you? Okay, good. That's everybody, right? All right. I'm going to continue for just a few more minutes, guys, because it takes an inordinate amount of time and energy from a lot of individuals to make this program run as it does. Thank you to our assistant coaches, Coach Alan Collis and Wade Hodges, who are both amazing coaches and role models to these young athletes. I want to thank Jeremy King, our athletic trainer, who helps keep our kids healthy when they're injured. I mean, he went with us to the sectional tournament, state tournament, had these kids iced down and taped up in the hotel room till midnight, trying to get them ready for competition. Thanks, buddy. Our middle school and youth coaches who aren't here tonight, David Tupper, Chris Thigpen, Zach Paget, and Earl Maddox, and Dylan Doster do an amazing job teaching kids the sport as a young age from K to 8th grade when we get them at the high school. So those guys do a great job. Also like to take the opportunity to thank our FCHS administration for their support of this team and me, Dr. Ramsey, Ms. Collis, Ms. York, Ms. Housley, and Mr. Henson. And furthermore, the parents who have been an integral part of this team's success, Shannon Dye, Joan Seiler, Kim Cantrell, Jesse Shaw, and several others who work tirelessly to ensure this team is supported properly. And also a huge thank you to this amazing community for their support of this team. You know, over the last 4 years, the community has really shown up and shown out for these guys. As anyone can attest, you know, if you've been to the old gym for a Friday night or a nighttime dual meet, that place is rocking, and it's once again an intense battlefield in that gym every time we wrestle. So thank you, community, for your support, both in spirit and monetarily, which is also appreciated. In closing, and so as not to break new traditions, speaking for all the athletic programs in Fannin County, from rec league to middle school and high school, and beyond with our athletes who are continuing their careers in college, we're not done.
Coach Patterson is not shy. He's got a lot to say. Again, just one final congratulations to the team, to the coaches, to the parents. It was an awesome season, a lot of great work, a lot of hard work, so just very proud of you guys. And now we're going to get a picture with the board and the superintendents, I believe. we can get you out, you're really gonna have to like do something. I'd even need somebody to kneel. As many pictures as y'all have made this year, I know you know how to get in a group.
And in my special recognitions at the beginning of this, there's one person I failed to call out, and I need to recognize him. He signed my high school diploma, and I also enjoyed the privilege of serving as a principal with him, Mr. Douglas Davenport, back here in the back.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, agenda number 8 is school safety update, and I'd like to invite Chief Operations Officer Darren Danner to the front to introduce our guest.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, sir.
That's a lot of girth that had to get out here. I have the privilege to introduce Mr. Chris Stallings. Currently, Mr. Stallings is the Director of Georgia Emergency Management Agency, better known as GEMA, and also Homeland Security, appointed by Governor Kemp September 1, 2020. Mr. Stallings is also Vice Chairman of the Board of Homeland Security. He also serves on the Georgia Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and the Georgia Cyber Security Board. Prior to GEMA and Homeland Security, Mr. Stallings was Director of the Georgia Department of Public Safety Dignitary Protection Unit. It is with my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Chris Stallings.
Good evening. Board members, Chairman, thank you. Dr. Gwatney, Ms. Miller, thank you. For those of you that's got to tolerate me, thank you. So, that's me, and I hate that the kids got out of here. I understand practice waits for no one. They think they're cool. I was going to show them, that's cool. That's Fannin County High School class of 98. I'm very proud to be back, and so it was a great time here. So we'll go on to the next one. I can't even stand to look at that. That's rough. But I do want to say thank you for having me here on behalf of Governor Kemp and the Office of the Governor. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight and talk to you a little bit about what we're doing this year in the world of school safety. School safety is extremely important. It's hard to believe seeing these kids standing here and being back here with you this evening, and you that I have a senior this year. I've got a junior, a sophomore, and a drinking problem. No, I'm just kidding. But I have a great time, and so I enjoy school safety. It's extremely important to me because I have kids involved. I have kids invested, and so it was extremely important that whenever I engaged in this role as Homeland Security Director, that we found a mission that not only made our schools safer, but also taught us all a little more about how to just prepare ourselves. And so This year, in partnership with the Office of the Governor and floor leaders, we've introduced a couple bills, and these are extremely important to us. And I want to do a little, as we call it, splaining for everybody. So there's some misinformation that's going on around some of it, so I want to put your mind at ease just a little bit. So one of the first things that we've got here is House Bill 147, which has already passed the House and is now before the Senate. It's simply titled the Safe School Act, and that's the one everybody probably is hearing a lot about. So we want to kind of help calm some nerves about what's going on. But in this act, what it's going to do is, and we'll read off the screen just a little bit, no later than December 31 of 23, Professional Standards Commission, GEMA Homeland Security, ICE, the Department of Juvenile Justice, and in partnership with the Georgia Public Safety Training Center, shall create a school safety and anti-gang endorsement for eligible certified professional personnel. Well, what this will do is it will require schools by the end of October 1st of each year to conduct an intruder alert drill. Now, there's a lot of misinformation going on that we're going to require everybody to do active shooter stuff. Well, let's all be honest. There's a lot of other things that go on in our schools before there's ever an active shooter. We have fights, we have emergencies, and we just have random strangers that are walking onto our schools. I can tell you without being here to scare folks, one of the number one things that we're seeing in school is intruders who walk in and find their way into locker rooms. And they take IDs out of pockets and they steal the credit of a 16-year-old who doesn't monitor their credit. Why should they? They're 16. Mom and dad bought their truck and pay the insurance, right? That's how it worked at my house anyway. I don't know. But so we don't think about those things, but that's something that we're starting to encounter a lot. Well, why? What do we do whenever we recognize that there's an intruder? Now, I'm very proud to hear a lot of the things that are going on in Fannin County. I think what you're doing is phenomenal, but not every county is like you. And so we have to pass laws like this that encourage us to do these type drills. These drills are not a burden to the school. But what we wanted to remind you is that we do fire drills, but no one expects our administrators and our teachers to be firemen, correct? We expect them to be teachers. We do tornado drills, and we don't expect anyone to become meteorologists for that. And when we do these intruder alert drills, we also don't expect you to become law enforcement. We want you to do what it is you do best, which is teach, instruct, and take care of those that are under your purview. And so with that, all we want you to do is practice. What happens if a random stranger walks onto your school property? What are you going to do? It's an intruder, and we want you to alert. We want you to start talking through those. What we'll do with those is we encourage you to partner with those that should respond as law enforcement. We want you to partner with those that should respond in emergency situations. We want you to partner with those, but we're not asking you to become them. We just want you to do what it is you do best and protect those kids that you swore to serve. There are some caveats in there. A child may opt out with written permission from a parent. We don't want to cause any harm to someone. We understand that there are going to be times in life that you have students that transfer in and out of school districts. Why did they leave the other school district? We don't know. Parents might have taken a new job, might have moved in with a family member, or a traumatic incident at another school required them to leave. And so we don't want to cause more trauma on top of things. So we certainly are working through that. The one thing that's unique about these is we're asking these, or not asking, actually, it's going to be mandated in the law, kind of telling you. But these will be reported to us. And why that's important is we're also in charge of the school safety plan. And so we want to work with you in partnership to ensure that as you go through these and as you're instructing your school districts to be a part of this, is that we have a partnership. We want you to know you've got a friend in us. We're there to support you. We're there to encourage. Through grants, a lot of times we can also help pay for a lot of things. So we want to keep that going. And then finally, on this particular point, the bill requires each school safety plan to be reported to us as well. We think that's extremely important because not every school district's like yours. Not every school district takes those drills as important as you do. Some school districts haven't ran drills in years, and as we're finding that out, that's unhealthy for everyone. I'll remind you that when I keep using the term drill, I was a state trooper. And in my time as a state trooper, we drilled, and we drilled, and we drilled, and we drilled. We drilled on very basic things. And I guarantee you, if you ask those wrestlers who were in here earlier this evening, they didn't make state champion because they hoped they would. I heard a saying a long time ago, and I was talking to Dr. Gwatney just a few minutes ago, and it's simple. It says you'll never rise to your level of expectation. You'll fall to your level of preparation. I can always want to do more, but if I've not prepared or I've not drilled or I've not practiced, I've not hit the mat, I'm not going to reach that level that I'm hoping to get to. So with these drills, we're asking this repetition so that should an intruder show up, our schools can respond accordingly. And I think it's extremely important. We've got a lot of support in the House. We're getting a lot of support in the Senate. I have a copy of the law if anybody wants to see it afterwards, make notes, questions, and we can certainly take it back because it's you that we're going to be doing it. It's you that has to get involved. It's the school boards that have to encourage and make sure it's being followed through. But we think it's such a good thing because our kids, they have to be priority. Second slide is Alyssa's Law. A lot of you have probably heard about the Alyssa's Law. It's going to require local schools to implement a mobile panic alert system capable of connecting to local and state emergency services. Why is that important? What we're seeing around the country, not just around our state, but around the country, is that inside the school room, teachers are faced with a lot of things. I would imagine that if you polled your teachers, without saying it over and over, active shooter is the last concern on their mind. It's two of these big hosses that were in here wrestling, getting in a fight. That's a problem. It's two of these big hosses hitting on some smaller person that's gotten in a fight, knocking them over. Now we've got a fight going, and we've got an injury, so someone's hit their head. Those are the things that our teachers face every day, and why this is important is this technology that we're asking be implemented is something that can be a wearable, it can be a call, it can be an app, to the school's choosing, but it's something that the teachers have on them at all times to get them immediate access and response. If a school already has that in place, then we're not asking you to replace your technology. We're just asking you to notify us so we can check you off the list. It's so important. And let's be honest, we're asking our teachers to do more. I remember, and I'm not going to tell on nobody, but I showed a shotgun to a teacher in the back parking lot of Fannin County High School. It was a new 16 gauge I got. We don't have those days anymore. We can't do that. If I showed up at Fannin County High School with that same shotgun, which I still have, I'd be fitted with a nice set of bracelets. But we don't live in those days anymore, so our teachers are being exposed to things more and more and more. And so certain school districts are doing what they should. They're encouraging, they're spending the money, they're taking care of their teachers. Unfortunately, not everyone is. And so with that, we have to encourage these relationships. We have to get these folks involved. So this is what we're doing. If a school system already has it in place, as I mentioned, you don't have to replace it. These systems must be in compliance no later than July 1 of 24. We've sat through a lot of these demonstrations, and the thing that we've seen with all of them is they're simple products. There are some out there that are a little more user-friendly than others. We're not engaging in telling you how you've got to do it. We're just engaging in telling you you've got to do it. At the same time, the governor has also put in his budget for this year $60,000 to go to each school so that they can make these changes. So with that, we are asking you to do some stuff, but we're also helping you pay for it. I apologize. I got a senior calling me right now. And finally, the last thing I want to hit on real quick is something that we do, and if you'll go to the next slide for me, please, is that our agency has a school safety conference. We rolled out the school safety plan last year. All of your administrators, your superintendent, your board members, any of you are eligible to attend. We encourage our SROs to attend. We encourage any of those relationships that can attend. This year we're doing it in Athens. Last year we were in Columbus. Now, we do it during the summer because we know you have nothing else going on in the summer, right? Just kidding. I know you're like, you're taking up my free time. I've spent months with these kids, and I just want some me time. But what we're doing is we go through behavioral threat analysis and assessments. We have a term in law enforcement called left of bang. We hear that a lot of times. We want to get left of bang. We want to get in front of the problem before it becomes a problem. You know, a lot of times we so focus on recovery from a problem, we forget that if we could have just stopped the problem in the first place. You know, they mentioned it earlier. I don't know how y'all feel, but there was a conversation about a paddle. That was a left of bang experience for me and a right of bang experience for me. I was warned of it and then I experienced it. But the fact is that the more we can focus on those things, it makes us all better for it. Gang awareness. I don't know if you know this, but gangs have no limit on age. They love a good 8th grader, 9th grader that's going to get a slap on the hand in a juvenile court, and then they can go steal another car. When I was a state trooper, I chased the same 14-year-old in a stolen car twice in one night because they're underage. So we know that the gangs are going after them. We discussed cybersecurity. How many of you know that the Board of Education, unfortunately, and Department of Education is the #1 target in the United States for cybersecurity? Why? It's real hard to convince a 7th grader not to click on a link that they get in their school email, correct? It's very difficult. And so those things are part of what we do on how to train. Social media threats. I'm going to throw a word out there, and it's called, well, I was going to say it. I have trouble saying it. Stochastic terrorism. What is that? That's when an influencer on social media makes a comment about something, whether it be a type of tennis shoe that is important to them right now, or a type of clothing that's important to them right now. And if you don't have it, you must be less than, poorer than, not as nice. And so this type, as silly as it sounds, it's become a major bullying issue that we're experiencing in schools. So we talk about those and how to combat the social media threats, and then emergency planning. So I appreciate the opportunity to present to you, but I would just challenge you to continue doing what it is that you're doing. I've heard so many good things, and in conversations I've had with Superintendent Ms. Miller, I'm so pleased to know that where I graduated high school has only gotten better. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job here. I drove by the school. It is not the school I graduated. I left in the winter following '98, and I've only been back a couple times, unfortunately. And when I come back through, I was like, yep, that is not FCHS that I graduated from. I stopped by the baseball field a while ago and got to see some of the team out there practicing. That's where I spent most of my days. I was the first 7th grader to go through the new middle school, bringing back a lot of memories. So it's such a good time to be here, and I do appreciate the opportunity to present to you this evening. If there's any questions that the board might have before my time is up, I would certainly entertain.
Any questions?
I'd just like to say I appreciate you coming.
Well, I appreciate it. Yes, sir, I appreciate that. And part of my safety, I was going to pick at him a little bit. Mike Cole there, he helped raise me a little bit, took me on my first dirt bike ride, got me addicted. And I've ridden bikes. I patrolled on them. So I appreciate Mike and Miss Deb back there taking care of me as a kid. So there's a lot of faces in this room that I'm very familiar with, and I'm terrible with names, and I'm not going to start trying to call names, but it's good to see a lot of you. I would feel really bad. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Of course, if there's anything that we can ever do for any of you, school teachers, principals, anything like that, we are certainly we're appreciative of the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome home.
Director Stallings, thank you for your time, and especially thank you for your work. It is truly appreciated. Thank you. Mr. Chair, item number 9 on the agenda is school governance team, and I'd like to invite Deputy Superintendent Betsy Hyde forward, please.
Well, certainly have some hard acts to follow, don't I? And I might point out that Coach Crawford, actually, I saw his pal a few times too, a few years ago. Okay, this month, middle school and high school did not meet, but all 3 elementary schools presented their comprehensive needs assessments that help drive their school improvement plans, their CLIP, their stakeholder engagement processes to their team, and they all reviewed their federal budgets, program budgets, and their expenditures. Blue Ridge had 1 fundraiser request, 1 field trip request, and 1 facility use request. East Fannin had 3 field trip requests, and West Fannin had 3 field trip requests. There will also be, you have a brochure on your, I put at your podium today from our Charter System Foundation, who supports us with our charter. And we will be having a mandatory SGT training provided by our liaison from the Charter System on March 31st. And she will also be here to do a little training with y'all when you have your local board training on March 30th. So any questions?
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Hyde.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next item on the agenda is school happenings, and I'd like to invite East Fannin Principal, Mr. Matt Price, forward, please.
Thank you, Ms. Miller and board, for allowing me this time to kind of show you some great things going on at my school. Is this good, Scott? Good? Okay, good. All right, so last time I presented was in October, and so we pick up in November at East Fannin, and we always like to celebrate our veterans on Veterans Day. And so this year we had Sergeant Major Russell Blackwell. He was our guest speaker, and so very decorated soldier who now works at the Pentagon. And so he gave a good message to our students. And so if you see Ms. Holtman there in her leading our students, they did a very special program for our veterans. It's always a special day to have veterans on campus. And Ms. Holtman did a great job with our students. Every student in the school participated with songs and things to celebrate our veterans, and we were proud of them. Picking up then with Thanksgiving and White Christmas, two of our biggest events at our school happened within just a few weeks apart, and Veterans Day was sprinkled right there in the middle. So our Thanksgiving, we served about 700 people that day at our school for our pre-K through 5 plus parents. And so they gather all throughout our school and sit down with their families and eat. And we had help from our 2 high school kids there in the middle. And there were several high school kids, but that was 2 of them. And we really couldn't do it without them. They do a phenomenal job coming in and helping with our meals. And to the left there, you see our White Christmas. Again, we do that at the PAC, and we're thankful Dr. Ramsey and them will allow us to come over and do our programs at the PAC. We have several bus drivers. It really takes the whole community to make the thing go. And our kids, again, all of our kids perform there. And it's just a really good time for our community to come together at the special time of the year, such as Christmas. I'm highlighting a little bit of our second grade. They've had some pretty cool stuff going on lately. On the left-hand side there, that is one of our second grade students, and they have adopted a cow, and the cow is actually in Madison, Georgia. And so through virtual conversations, they get to talk to the farmer. They get to track the cow's growth. They do the measurements and do charts and stuff and what it eats and how much it eats. And so then at the end, they get to do the whole class gets to sit and talk with the farmer and ask questions. And so that's pretty neat. They named the cow Magic. I don't know where that came from, but fitting for a cow, I guess. On the right-hand side, the Georgia Mountain Research came and did water conservation with our second grade students. It fits their standards, and y'all can see they get on the floor with them, and they're really hands-on and teach our kids about water conservation. They also had a family night, and so they did Life of a Second Grader. Our parents came into the building, and so they actually got to be a second grader for a couple of hours. And so they made the parents walk down the hall in line with the kids leading them. They got back to the room. The teachers taught us a lesson, and then, as you see, our parents had to do the work. And so it let them experience what their child experienced every day, and also ask teachers questions about subjects that they want to learn more about as a parent. And so that was a nice night there too. Creative arts, Miss Christy Holtman, again, you saw her leading our Veterans Day program, and so she also does art. And as you can see, we had a nice display at the Blue Ridge Mountain Arts Association. All schools were represented there, and we have some really talented artists in our community, and so they did just a great job. And if you'll see in the top left up there, that's actually it was a TV that was playing a video and actually had all the schools combined with some art, some poetry, things like that that the teachers and students sent to Ms. Holtman, and she had 2 students help edit that. So we've been spending a lot of time on video editing at our school, and we were proud to display that. Middle school hosted a STEM exhibition a couple of Saturdays ago, and so had a lot of great, our robotics team was there, and so they did a phenomenal job. And I have a video here too. It's just a very short 1-minute video that showed some things our kids were doing there in the field of robotics. So. And she is our STEM teacher, and so they put a lot of hard work in that, building those robots. And so that robotics team actually stays after school a lot, and then throughout the school day too, they work on those robots to get ready for that exhibition. So they've also entered some virtual competitions as well. Moving on, kind of fitting into our clubs, our middle picture there with the kids sitting at the seat, that's part of our sitting at the table is part of our robotics team. And so that was them after working on what you saw in the video. We have a pretty big running club that on the right-hand side there by the Wildcats, and so they run every Monday. And so they have some incentives as they circle. They collect rubber bands as they run around our track that they've got built out. And so they do a great job. Our other 2 pictures are out of our nature trail, and so with some newly purchased land a few months ago by our board, actually is on the back of our campus and extends it, and so they've discovered a stream back there, and so they're working on cutting out a nature trail for our kids. And so really exciting. Our kids are kind of help mapping it out and creating that trail, and there's a lot of hard work ahead for them, but hopefully they'll create something that students for years to come will be able to enjoy. CTAE, of course, we want to connect those students to our school as much as we can. Our first grade reads a book called Metal Man, and it's about a welder. And so we brought 2 former students over to our school, former East Fannin students to the school, and they brought their equipment with them. And so to a first grader, a torch and a helmet and mask and all, something really cool. So they brought it to real life from what they read in a book, and then they got to experience that firsthand with some students from CTAE. We had our special Olympics back last month, and so this time they traveled to Fannin Lanes, and so they got to enjoy part of the day at Fannin Lanes, and they all had a good time. And so our 2 teachers there, Ms. Ramirez and Ms. Cook, do a phenomenal job with those students, and they had a really good time that day. Tomorrow, actually, we are going to celebrate our support staff at East Fannin, because you're either teaching or you're supporting teaching at schools. And so these people do an awesome job of supporting teaching. That would include our cafeteria ladies, parapros, counselor, anybody who supports teachers, and they have done an awesome job supporting teachers. They fill in roles a lot of times outside of their duties, and they do it without complaints. They never complain, and it's always, what can I do to help? And so we're going to celebrate them tomorrow. Ms. Cook and I is going to do probably 2.5-hour lunch duty. So y'all pray for us tomorrow as we do lunch duty, especially those littles. And so we're going to cover their lunch so they can eat with their grade levels. So we're going to, that will be tomorrow. And also we had our nutrition department has chipped in with them, Ms. Williams, and has purchased dessert for them. So tomorrow will be a good day for them, and I hope they enjoy it. Our gifted students are served in the cluster model in the classroom, but Ms. Carter pulls them out and they do a stock market game. And so she spends a few days teaching the stock market, and then they get to, there's an app they use to, and they're given not really $100,000, but that's their budget. And so they get to invest over the weeks and track their stocks. And so at the end, it's a competition. And so they submit at the end of, I believe it's 6 weeks. And so it's actually a competition. Last year we had some kids that placed. And so it's pretty cool what those kids get to experience. So we had math night a couple weeks ago, and so had a huge crowd. Our cafeteria was full. Our teachers actually sent surveys to our teachers. Our teachers sent surveys to our parents and asked them, what are some things they need help with? What do you not understand? How can we better help you in the subject of math? And we got a lot of good responses. And so we came together in the cafeteria, and then they separated out into the classrooms, and they got to answer some of those questions. Some of those parents got to work those math problems and ask questions and get firsthand answers from the teachers. And so that worked well. Had a big crowd and had a lot of good questions answered. Y'all can see there our parents are engaged and really want to help their kids in math. That was based on survey information that we get every year of, how can we better help our parents? And it always comes up in the subject of math. So we've done a lot of professional learning this year. Of course, safety and bullying we did as a district back on our January professional learning days. And so we've also got some teachers who are doing letters training, Orton Gillingham and Wilson reading. And so that means they're going to be able to better help our kids with the science of reading and being able to help struggling readers at an early age to help close those gaps early so they become better readers. SRSD is a writing, some writing professional learning we've done recently, and then next year we'll have new math standards. And so we are using Miss Heather Cloud, and she actually was in the group that helped create these new math standards. And so we're excited that we've been partnered with her for years, and so she does just a great job with our folks. So, and last but certainly not least, thank you, board members. We appreciate you from East Fannin and all schools, and we want to thank you for all that you do for our students, faculty, and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Any questions?
Is it? That is a good idea. I tell you, some of those kids last year, I looked at their numbers and I wouldn't mind investing my money with them. They were, not that I have any money, but if I did, I would. So. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number 11 is public comment. Mr. Danner, do we have any public comment? All right, Mr. Chair, with no public comment, let's go on to number 12, facilities update with Chief Operations Officer Darren Danner.
Thank you, Ms. Miller, and good afternoon, board. Matt, when he presented that to the DSET on Wednesday, he said the cow's name was Ribeye. So he's changed the name since Wednesday. Maintenance department, 1,483 work orders up until yesterday. So again, maintenance department, again, can't say much enough about them. So facilities update, this was last weekend. Life Force actually come. That is our training pad, bus training pad. You can see the fueling station there in the background. So again, that is actually a true LV location for Fannin EMS. So again, we've reached out to Robert Graham and also to Chief Thomas. Again, they come inspect it. So again, So it's just going to be a great thing for them, because at sometimes they actually have to, if school's not in session, they use East Fannin's playground as an LB. So again, we're going to hopefully they can use this here. Go ahead, Mr. Price already mentioned so a lot of PL. So again, got several pictures from our January PL day and also our February PL day. So this is at the middle school. This is here at the Development Center. Facility is being used almost on a daily basis. So that's what it was designed to do. Actually, today had the high school math club. So during those 3 days, we had them at 4 to 5 different locations: transportation, our 2 rooms here, and also Fannin. So a tremendous amount of professional learning. Say this correctly. This is the proper way to follow a student or person down if you have to restrain them. You don't take them down. I got corrected very quickly. You don't take anybody down. You follow them. So again, this is a proper way to do that. There's one there that actually got on a follow.
All right, Mr. Davis.
We have, stop right there, Ms. Shisley. How many people do we have trained in mindset? Do you know that? I mean, it's a ton. I don't know the exact number, but again, we have people trained in every facility, administrators, teachers. So again, it's just not 1 or 2 people. We have a ton of people. That might be something.
And Mr. Daner, I believe the facility has allowed us to actually do that training in a shorter amount of time this year than it has in the past due to us having space. Is that not correct?
Absolutely. You know, that used to take place at the high school at the new gym conference room, which is now 2 different classrooms. And so again, we've used that place at the high school. Then actual facilities here, we have the little, go ahead, Mr. Hensley. Little fender bender there at the high school. That's my place of zen. Every time it rains, I go down and go play with the pumps there at the White Path building. And this is at West Fannin. West Fannin chose they're using their SPLOST allotment to put in a walking track around the football. So several pictures of it. If you've not been by West lately, the contractor's done a tremendous job of it. It's being used during school and after school and on the weekends. So that's become a community walking track.
And back to our facilities, Mr. Danner, I do believe that we are debt free and they're paid for spots.
We are 100% debt free.
Thank you. Item number 13, Mr. Chair, is approved recommendation to award mowing bids. Again, Mr. Darren Danner.
Mr. Hensley, you probably have to log in. So, 60 staff members that have been trained in our mindset training. We just
that was in honor of Director Stallings.
That's what I was getting ready to say there. He does cybersecurity, so we made sure we got it good. So we're good there, Mr. Stallings. Mr. Hensley, do the invitation first. So again, this was sent out several weeks ago, and again, it's our tradition that we do every year at this time of year. It's got every facility that we contract mowing out. Okay, Mr. Hensley. Then do the cost. We had 3 bidders who met the deadline of Tuesday at 10 a.m. we had B&D Landscaping, Grass Monkey, and Gary Stanley. And again, a committee was formed, and we did a rubric. That's what the score is on the left. B&D score was 90, Grass Monkey was 60, and Gary Stanley was 98. And then what's in yellow is my recommendation for the mowing contract. So B&D noticed that their Blue Ridge Elementary was a little bit lower than Gary Stanley, but Gary Stanley had a higher score, and Mr. Stanley only bid on Blue Ridge and Westman. Grass Monkey again bid on all 5 maximum 6. So did B&D. So again, that's why there's different ones. And again, we've never used B&D landscaping. Gary Stanley we've used on multiple occasions. And last year we had 0 complaints during his mowing contract. So again, these are the recommendation. And then, so summarizing that spreadsheet, again, we'd like to recommend West Fannin and Blue Ridge to Gary Stanley, and East Fannin Middle School, High School, Ag Center, Staffordville Transportation to B&D Landscape.
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Danner. Item number 14 is approved district financial report, and I'd like to invite Director of Finance Susan Wynn.
Good evening. So we have our January 31st financial reports for our general fund. We're 58.33% complete for the fiscal year. Our local revenues are at 88.98% versus 85.72 from the prior year. Total revenues at 76.79 versus 75.21. Total expenditures 51.65 versus 52.40. And then we can see encumbrances, and we can scroll to our other statements, to our capital projects, and then our special revenues, and our school nutrition. That presents the financial statement.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve the district financial report as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 15, spliced update. Ms. Wynn?
Yes, ma'am, we had $759,864.84 that we collected for the month of January. It's 9.8% growth from the prior year. So that was collected January the 20th, which was earned during December.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Wynn. We are definitely blessed, and we don't take that for granted.
Always my favorite. No.
Yes, sir. Agree. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wynn. Mr. Chair, item number 16 is to approve Chamber of Commerce bus use request, and with that, I'd like to invite Assistant Superintendent Robert Isley forward, please.
Good afternoon again, Board. We would like to request, or the Chamber of Commerce through Leadership Fannin has requested the use of one of our buses to go down to their trip to the Capitol this year. They will be leaving on Wednesday, March the 22nd, and arriving down there around 9:30 and coming back about, leaving down there for about 2 p.m. But they would be responsible for the cost of the fuel and the driver. But they have requested to use one of our buses this year to go down.
Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 17 is to approve intergovernmental agreement and summer meal contract with the Fannin County government. With that, Mr. Inslee and Director of Wellness, Martha Williams, will present.
Good evening, Board. So this intergovernmental agreement and mill contract is the same thing that we do basically every year, and this allows for us to enter into agreement with our county government, and they already met on February 14th and approved it on their end and are awaiting us to approve it on ours. And this will allow us to serve our students through the summer with both feeding them meals and transporting them. And so the first agreement that is up there is the actual summer food service program. And that is also part of the amendment and the addendum on the second intergovernmental agreement. They're both the same thing listed twice, and then the intergovernmental includes Mr. Inslee.
And these are the same items that we've done each year for our summer program, and that we would cover we would work with them with the transportation as well.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I make a recommendation to approve as presented.
Now, recommendation, do I hear a motion?
You have that motion.
And a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion?
Like if there was an accident?
Mr. Deweese, are you speaking about what Mr. Danner had said with the life flight and practicing on our pads and stuff? If we were to have an emergency, we would absolutely contact 911 and they would have access through that. Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? I'm so very proud of the care that our system takes of our children, be it over the holidays or through the summer. It truly speaks volumes about where your heart is, and I'm so appreciative of that. Anyone else? All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Mr. Chair, item number 18 is local board training update, and I'd like to invite Chief Academic Officer Lucas Root to present, please.
Good evening, Board. The first item we have up here is a memorandum, just a summary of the exemplary board internal review that we had in February. And so this is a summary that just describes that process and what took place and the outcome. And so that was a successful meeting. Mr. Inslee, we can move on to the criteria. There we go. So what this is the criteria for you to remain an exemplary board. There are some updates to the criteria, so we'll be working hard to make sure that all of those pieces are met. And I know that you gentlemen also work very hard to make sure that all these pieces are met to remain an exemplary board. The memo that was up there before, that is part of the one of the pieces of criteria, having that internal review where we bring in community members. And again, that was an extremely successful meeting and an eye-opening meeting for the community members in terms of all that you do for our students and all that our county office does and our administrators and everybody do for our students. One other piece of criteria that's in here has to do with the training that you receive every year. And so the other local board training dates that we're going to have coming up, and I know I mentioned it at previous board meetings, but we have March 30th coming up, and that will be our local board training. We will discuss charter, the fact that we're a charter system, and we will also be discussing demographics of our school system and financials of our school system during that on that day. But the exciting part about that day on March 30th is that you gentlemen will have the opportunity to visit 4 of our schools. You will visit all 4 schools. We won't go to the high school because we visited the high school back in the fall. So we'll have that opportunity to do that. So again, March 30th, extremely excited about that day and excited about the entire process of local board training to uh, again, allow you gentlemen to do what you do with excellence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, number 19 is executive session, and I would like to make a recommendation to go into executive session for personnel and to consult with legal. And for that session, we would need Ms. Doss and Dr. White.
I'll entertain a motion to retire to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Votes unanimous, motion carried. We'll be back shortly. No action was taken in executive session, but I will entertain a motion to return to normal session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Vote unanimous.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, item number 20 is to approve student workers, and I'd like to invite Chief Academic Officer Lucas Ruth forward, please.
Is it working? So this memo, this is to approve, asking for your approval for 5 student workers that will serve as student custodians. And these students will have the ability to travel to any school in our school system. However, we had to tie them directly at the beginning to the high school. But similar to a contract worker that can float to any school, these individuals would have that opportunity to do so. So this is, again, a good opportunity for these students and a great opportunity for our school system. And so we do respectfully request your approval for all 5 of these students to work within our school system for the remainder of the spring semester of this school year.
I'd like to make a I'd like to make a recommendation to approve as presented, please.
We need to name them.
Go ahead and do their name.
We have Jonah Pierce, Jonah Couch, Dakota Harris, Endalishment, and Jacob Phillips.
All right, we have a recommendation. I hear a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make that.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. We need to don't even discuss that. All those in favor? Vote unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Ruth. Mr. Chair, item number 21 is personnel, and if I could get you to turn your attention to the personnel sheet, please. First group of these will be resignations. The first one is Ms. Shirley Payne, a resignation effective 2/15/2023.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Motion to second. All those in favor? Vote unanimous. Motion carries.
This next set is still resignations, and we'll take them collectively, all with the effective date of 5/23/2023. And that is Ms. Tanya Callahan, Aaron Colbert, Kristen Gladding, Betsy Hyde, Donna Ladd, Chris Mashburn, Angela Paris, Kent Thomas, and Crystal West.
We have a
I make the recommendation as presented.
recommendation to accept those resignations. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Vote unanimous. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, the next one is to rescind a recommendation, and that is for Mr. Guy Woody, effective 1/12/2023. Make that recommendation.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, the next one is a recommendation pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements, and that is Mr. Wade Woodall as part of the professional staff effective for the 2023-24 school year. I make the recommendation.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, the next one is recommendations for substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements. and that would be, both of these are for substitute teachers for the 2023-24 school year, and that would be Miss Donna Ladd and Crystal West. I make that recommendation.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, I make the recommendation for these substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements. Start date, all effective 3/10/2023, and it's for substitute teachers. That would be Miss Laura May, Kim Strew, Madison Stuve, and Darlene Turner. Make the recommendation.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, recommendation for substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements. These are substitute bus drivers. All start date effective 3/10/2023, and that is Angela Cracknell and Helen Melissa Tao. I make that recommendation.
And do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, this next recommendation for substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements is for substitute custodian effective 3/10/2023, and that is Ms. Shirley Payne. Make the recommendation.
And do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This next recommendation for substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements is for substitute custodian and substitute nutrition. Start date effective 3/10/2023, and that is Ms. Wanda Burley. Make that recommendation.
And do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Chair, the next recommendations for substitute employees pending completion of paperwork, background check, and training requirements. Both of these are substitute nutrition, effective date 3/10/2023, and that is Ashley Green and Brenda King. Make that recommendation.
And a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, we're at superintendent comments. I wanted to thank all the people who come together to make our school system and community a place where children can learn and grow in order to be the next generation to lead this great nation. Earlier in the meeting, I took the oath of allegiance for superintendent of schools. I am humbled and honored as I pick up this journey where others have gone before me. Several leaders, former superintendents, board members, school administrators attended tonight, and I am blessed with their presence. I hope to honor our Heavenly Father and the citizens of this community with the decisions made and continue to make Fannin County's school system the best it can be. Roosevelt is quoted as saying, "Democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choices are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy, therefore, is education." As educators, we are responsible for educating our students so that they are equipped to make wise choices that will preserve this great nation. We are blessed. I am honored and humbled. Thank you.
If memory serves me correctly, Mr. Bearden, I think you're first. Oh,
I'm
pardon
sorry,
me.
I didn't speak loud enough.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say thank you. I want to say congratulations, Shannon. I'm proud of you. Board, thank you for the opportunity to work for you. Work for the school system. My team out here, I just want to say thank you to you. And the community, thank you for your support. I love this. And I love especially the quote that's on it. It's a Jefferson quote: "A candle loses nothing when it lights another candle." And I feel like I had that opportunity when you afforded me the opportunity to coach and to train Ms. Miller. She's going to do a great job. She is doing a great job. I'm so proud of her. And the the challenge that I want to leave her with is the same, and I think that we can say that it's been exemplified with the folks that came in this evening. We all want to leave it better than we found it. And I know that together, Shannon, support, leave it better than you found it. And the team that's out here, leave it better than you found it. With that, thank you.
All right, I'll start. Try to be quick. With all the recognition and stuff that went on tonight, and I got wore out before I got started, getting up and sitting down, getting up and sitting down. But I'll tell you, that's where it's at for me. Getting to see these young people perform and place and stuff like that, that's where it's all about for me. And I know it is for the other guys. Mr. Price, thank you for your presentation. I appreciate all the principals who are here. You showed some stuff on the screen about the art center where the students had put in there. I went home from work one evening and my great-granddaughter said, Papa, I want to go to the art center. Papa went to the art center, and I got to see all that. Marvelous, marvelous. The drawings and stuff that our children put on the wall over there. We're going to have some great people come out of here. Miss Miller, I can't say enough about it. You're a woman that's right there. And Mr. G, I don't know. I know when it comes time on the 30th to have your thing, I'm going to bring a big box of towels with me, because I know I'm going to cry. But anyway, I appreciate you more than you love it. And I appreciate this board.
It's good to be back. Got to miss one last time. I don't know if y'all missed me, but I missed y'all. And sorry about being late, because anybody had a bad day today? I mean, it's been a bad day for me, right? I could have went right back to bed, but I couldn't come on time because I had no pants. See, so I mean, I had a bad day till I got here. Now I'm doing all right, but I couldn't get in my wife's pants. I had those pants, so that's funny. I had my jacket and her pants. So I'm trying to get ready. I had to go to McKaysville and back, and I might have needed Chris's help if I'd have got caught. So I was like, and so thought y'all might need that, and everybody else out there. So, but this is a highlight to be back here doing what we do, and they spoke earlier about the community interaction where Mr. Bremer and I and superintendent sat down, and that they are amazed because it's not a Thursday night that we're working. We're continuously working, but a lot of people don't know that. And I'm not trying to brag us up, but we love what we do, which makes it easy when you really see the heart of the outgoing superintendent, the incoming superintendent, their love for this place and the betterment that they want to make happen. So a lot of people don't get to see that. We get to see that firsthand, and so I want to thank y'all for that. How about the technicians from the bus garage? That's awesome, and the wrestling team. I just can't thank you principals enough for what you do, and thank you for celebrating us. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. It's very kind, and I appreciate that. Miss Tate, it's so good to see you. I miss you. I miss working with you. Love you, and I love your atmosphere that you have. So, Chris, I want to thank Chris for coming, Chris Stallings, and Chris came to Fannin County when he was about 11, and so I got to meet him at a young age. But if you read his bio, you know where he says his hometown is? Right here. It's his hometown. He wasn't born here, but if you ask him, Carrie, or Courtney, this is their hometown, everyone. So I think it's a special honor that he came, and I think it is a divine appointment that he's here to help us with our security and to have that advantage. And it just really excites me that God has graced us with special. He says favor. He puts you before mighty men. That's favor. And so I thank God for the favor. I think for you folks, I love you, and have a great night.
Mr. Galloway. All right, Allison, I've got to know what Darren did. You said you had a bad day. You're the only one that held your hand up. I know it had to be Darren. So. No, I want to definitely say congratulations to our transportation techs. That's awesome. Good job, Robert. Tell them what I said for all they do. Our wrestlers, well, what an accomplishment. Super proud of them. I've got the honor this year again to be with some of them in the track program, and it is truly an honor to see some of these athletes and just to be around them a little bit. I get to be around them, so I do appreciate it. Wish them all the best. I do want to say I appreciate the gifts, the thank yous, the appreciation from all the schools. Thank you so much. And we'll say congratulations to this. Looking forward to working with you and tackling a lot of obstacles. And we got many up front of us, but I believe we're going to overcome. I'm excited. So, thank you for each and every one of them that showed up and listened. God bless you and love you. It is a pleasure being with you.
Mr. Luis. Mr. Beard.
I want to thank the people that gave me these gifts up here. I forgot to say that, but I do appreciate it.
I think my esteemed colleagues have covered all the bases. I certainly agree with everything you said. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for what you do for our children. Dr. Rodney, it's been an honor to work alongside you for 6 years. And Ms. Miller, congratulations. We're looking forward to working with you for at least as many. Again, a model transition, smooth and efficient. I can see systems asking questions. How did you facilitate this? And it was both of them. They have servant hearts. Fortunately for us, they want to dedicate their talents and their time and their energy to our students and to you. So I'm thankful for both of them. Thankful for all of you. Hope you have a pleasant evening. And it's 8:11. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. That was pretty quick. If we stand adjourned, we'll see you soon.